generation. We're the voice of a new people. The destructive ways of the past are gone. We will replace them with our vision of the future. The party will lead us to the new age. There have been those who have tried to stop the new age. They are the corrupt reminder of the past. They have tried to confuse us with the idea that the old America was a good country. We know that lie. History teaches us that lie. We are grateful to our Soviet brothers who saved the world from destruction, and we can now join them in a world of socialist brotherhood. Everyone will go to school, everyone will have a job, everyone will be equal. No one will exploit or be exploited, and all those who oppose this wonderful vision will be crushed.
Here with a very special message for my good friend Omran Daknish. That's right. Hey buddy, how are you doing? I love sending special messages like this to people all over the world, but especially to great little boys like you, Omran, all the way over in Aleppo. I'm thinking about you today and every day. You are a special little boy. And of course I'd love to give a big shout out to your sisters Roa and Taki and your brother Abdullah. Omran, always be safe in Aleppo with your family. We love you. The whole world loves you. Yay! Omran, keep being the sweet little boy you are. You'll always be close in my heart. From your friend, Kermit the Frog. I love you, Omran.
We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
say we're woke. We sell drinks that I smoke. China is our labor supplier that drives our stock price even higher. What the world knows today, obesity won't go away. Won't diabetes is here to stay. That's a real thing. What the world knows today, obesity won't go away. Diabetes is here to stay. That's a real thing. Coca-Cola.
We taught the world to sing in perfect harmony. Just drink Coke, the road to obesity.
At Coke, we say we're woke. We sell drinks that I smoke. China is our labor supplier that drives our stock price even higher. What the world knows today, obesity won't go away. Won't diabetes is here to stay. That's a real thing. What the world knows today, obesity won't go away. Diabetes
Rated PG-13.
Hi, I'm George Lucas. In my past 40 years of motion picture making, no subject has so inspired me as this story that happened in August 2016. The world saw a 3-year-old boy on global networks, and it really touched my heart. So much so that I had to tell his story. His name is Omran Daknish. His story is real. It happened. I'm telling this story because millions of other children just like Omran are still being hurt in war-torn countries resulting from neglect, illness, and uncaring masses. We must remember them all. You won't be leaving the movie theater without a tear in your eyes. I hope you'll come.
ممران دقنيش
قديش عمرها؟
4 سنين.
Rated PG-13.
If for some reason you cannot see your T-bar, it's just difficult for you, visualize a circle with a dot in dark blue or royal blue. That is the symbol or archetype of the pineal gland itself. If you could see organs in people, that symbol would emanate from the organ of the pineal gland. All you need to do then is just center the dot in the circle. It will have the same effect as balancing your T-bar. Okay? Right here. Yes. In the so-called third eye. Okay? That's where it comes from. Okay? Now, if you have a balanced T-bar and a high-functioning pineal gland, it is very much difficult for anyone or anything to enter in unbalanced thoughts. It's a form of protection for you. Now, understand, in the aura or the electromagnetic web that surrounds your body, there are the chakra system that generates the colors. And there are 7 main centers, as you know, from the root all the way up to the crown, which are really nothing more than nerve ganglions that have an energy and color associated with them. It's where bundles of nerves come together in your body. It's scientifically there. Okay? It's not anything mysterious. But there is one color that is never taught, whether it's New Age or metaphysical, it's never taught. Now, whether you consider it fortunate or unfortunate, I can see colors. That's what I see. And so I know what is common to humanity and to the planet Earth. The lowest layer around the Earth, which is the gravity field in the atmosphere, has the color brown on it, in it. That's what it is. That's why tree bark and sand and small animals that crawl on the ground and soil are all brownish in color, because they're resonating with that energy field. And so do human beings. The iceberg is a perfect interspecies method of communication. Many of you who have had experiences either as abductees or contactees, whatever the case may be, may have received symbols during some of these experiences that you couldn't explain. You may have seen colors with the symbols that didn't make any sense to you. You need to write them down and to decipher them. Then you will understand what the message is. Most of the beings out there are nonverbal in nature, and they access communication through this method. There is direct communication between the pineal gland. Many abductees report that they're always touched at the pineal gland area with a wand type of device. And that really is to open up this gland in order to receive mental communication of a hyperspatial derivative. When you dream, when you go out of your body at night when you sleep, you are traveling in that level.
Well, you could almost say ET attacks. If you have problems with entities of any type which are attacking you, this thing will usually end the problem. They don't like it. I've used it more than once for that purpose, including up in North Carolina recently, where we had an infestation of ETs at a certain symposium, which Preston and I and Duncan were at. They didn't like this thing at all. They left. They were not physically present in the sense of being you or I or anyone else in the physical, normal reality. They were present in an altered or parallel reality. Now, this gets into a very interesting aspect, which I don't have time to cover fully, but very briefly. There is alternate realities. There are several of them. The government does have means to cross over into these other realities. There is a project called Project Winter Haven, which is developed parallel to the Montauk Project, probably under the cover of the Phoenix Project. And this is a project for interdimensional travel. And by using interdimensional travel techniques, some of these so-called spirits turn out to be quite real, because what is the spirit world but another reality? Quite physical to their own references. Your dream world is quite physical when you're in it. Therefore, one has to come up with a question, what is reality? We think we know what it is because we can hit a table. If you hit a car under a brick wall, you smash the car, you might smash yourself. If you could do an alternate reality shift quickly enough, you wouldn't hit the wall. Who knows what you'd hit in the other one. But this gets into a very strange and difficult area to analyze. What is reality? We accept ours as real because we've been educated to it. We feel it, we know it every day. But there are other realities and other people there that know their reality as real. They probably look at us as ghosts, if you will. But there is occasionally crossover under certain conditions, dimensional changes, dimensional doorways, which can be artificially created, or naturally they exist without artificial creation. But a device like this can prove useful in terms of if you've got uninvited visitors that you don't like. Okay. We don't have it in production yet, and I can't really give a price. This is one experimental unit. Preston had built one or two others on a breadboard, which are about 5 times this, cover a 12 by 12 inch breadboard. But if we do get it in production, it's, I can put it this way, it'll be more than $100 and it'll be less than $1,000. The circuit is fairly simple, but we have to consider a number of aspects. Frequency stability, adjustability, durability. We still don't really know how durable that transistor is. It's a low voltage device, as most germaniums were in the past. Typically, a germanium had a VCE rating of about 10 volts, 9 volts to 12 volts, 15 was high. This is a 9-volt transistor. These are hand-picked to handle about 25 volts. And that's one of the unknowns at this point, is how stable is that transistor against transients. You won't get much transients with a big filter cap on a battery. But it might if you're in an area where, let's say, there was a powerful radar transmitter or some other very powerful electromagnetic transmitting device. Anything from an FM transmitter to a TV transmitter. They'll put up a lot of voltage if you're too close. And if the circuit board happens to be critical in terms of the layout, the length of the leads, and you hit a quarter wavelength lead, you can build up a rather high voltage internally on a transistor because of the lead lengths on the board. Right, that's the other aspect. The coil is directly connected. Right. Okay, I'll see if I can find a screwdriver and take the lid off so you can see what it looks like. Because it's practically, I've used it to end problems with people who had attacks of one kind or another. Energy attachments, one could call it, which is a form of implant, but it's not a physical crystal type. Physical crystal types have to be removed surgically. Biological implants can be destroyed by electronic means. This is not powerful enough to do it. It can be used to stop a form of mind control where people are trying to impinge those who have the capability of transmitting a form of mind control. And I'm talking about hardware. I'm talking about mind control from another person's mind who has the capability, impinge on a secondary party, bad energy, feeling bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One can do a number on those people which breaks it and gives a person back some peace. Then you have to look at the other aspect of who is this and why are they doing it. Yes?
Have you done any experiments with, like, time anomalies? Does it change the rate of time?
It changes the rate of time in a very localized area because the output is a cone of energy. And since time is one of those elements which is basic to the universe, it does not know a distance limitation, even with a small box like this. There is no 1 over d squared or 1 over d attenuation. There is no attenuation. Sorry? What does he? It is localized because of the size of the coil at this point on the edge of the box. It fans out as a cone. It fans out as a cone of energy. The further you go, the more it spreads. But it does not attenuate insofar as any tests I have made on it are concerned. I've had people that pick it up are sensitive to it 2,500 miles away from Phoenix to the East Coast. I'm sorry? Nope, haven't had any so far. There's not enough power. You would have to have a very large delta T function for that, and a considerable amount of power, more than a 9-volt transistor battery. Perhaps something that was charged by a 12-volt car battery might do it. Yes. It is basically a psychotronic type device, psychotronic effects, yes. And in that sense, the effect is not physical insofar as any affected tissue is concerned, so far as we've been determined at this point. We have not yet built a detector which can directly measure the output of this thing. We're working on that. And that's another aspect. If we say we got something coming out of here, we got to be able to prove it. We can prove it indirectly by the subtle effects that some people pick up, but that is not hard proof. That's very soft proof. Oh. Right. If you have this thing properly modulated, it will affect the person that way. If you put a scramble signal on there, there's no telling what it can do to a person's mind if there was enough power. So the government knows how to manipulate these things. They use mind control devices all the time. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I had it on the vacuum cleaner side, which says it was pulling and then it stops pulling, and that's probably what you felt, the end of the pull. Now, not everybody can feel this device. I'm not. Anyone else that had a feeling for it? You did. Anyone else? Okay. It says that there was a low percentage here, but at least there were 3 or 4 who did feel it. 5. You have a question? Okay. Transmitting device, receiving communications. Very definite possibility, but one has to have a detector in order to demodulate, in order to use it as a useful transmission of intelligence device. You want to have 2 links, a transmitter and receiver. This is a transmitter only, and we do not have any modulating techniques on this. It is strictly a square wave generator driving it. Yes?
This is maybe a question more for the rest of it, but why couldn't one use a field effect transistor, which has very narrow base region? Well, field effect transistors are not helpful.
Yeah, that's a very special function.
The tunnel is what makes this work.
Yeah.
Is the tunnel comments. My experience with those type of devices or those type of diodes and transistors is that they're very sensitive, and if you place them in a properly machined cavity, you can get bandwidths out to 300 gigahertz. Yeah, I know. And rise time.
Gun diodes, right. They seem to have disappeared from the market. There are many things you can do with the properly built germanium devices you cannot do with silicon. And this is a technology which has been almost forgotten and buried, but probably not in certain government circles. Anyway, you have another question? Okay.
During the presentation, you said you were going to mention what happened to the vessel that was sold to the Greek.
Yes. It's interesting you did bring that up. Some interesting feedback on that recently. The feedback has come back to us recently about the fact that it is still in the Greek Navy, and that over a period of years the Greeks have had a few strange things happen. They found a number of locked rooms which they could not get into until they forced locks. They had some closets or standard type ship's lockers. They finally forced one open and a skeleton fell out. And they found wiring all over the ship that goes nowheres. It's just sitting there unconnected, and tons of wiring apparently with no connections to anything, and they don't know what it is. Well, I think I do. All right, I think we all do by now. But that's some of the feedback on that. I've heard other wild stories about when they first had the ship, they were getting some very anomalous effects which caused them to almost strip the ship and repaint it completely before they felt the stuff, whatever it was, die down and they could go out to sea with it. The stories are anecdotal, and I don't have any first-hand evidence or proof of it. Yeah, they want it for a museum piece. Ho, ho, ho. There'd probably be a cutting torch applied to bury it forever. That is also in the communications we have. The government would like to get it back. One other question? Okay. In the back.
It would appear to me that in 2023, that the Eldridge might disappear, regardless of whether you have machinery on it.
Well, there is no machinery on the Eldridge now other than a normal complement for a warship. Why do you pick 2023? Oh, 3, okay. It's an interesting thought. It didn't go into 83.
But, you know, when you went back and cut the wire, cut the cables, you were at a particular angle between 0 and 90 to do that. So what is to say that the spin hasn't rotated slightly back and forth?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought in terms of alternate realities and repetitive cycles and all of that. We've explored that thought-wise, and we do have reason to believe that we probably have been through this circuit more than once, but that's something we don't go into now because we're not sure of it. That's an interesting thought. Thanks. Yes? No. No, almost all of that type of device has been withdrawn from the market. Very nice little neat widgets. And the gun diode disappeared for about the same reason. Today you have a restricted market in terms of what electronic devices are available to the general lay public or the general experimenter. I haven't seen or heard of any, and I know somebody who's been trying to locate them. Maybe they're surplus. Whatever.
يلا لغبي اطلعوا.
Rated PG-13.
Hi, I'm George Lucas. In my past 40 years of motion picture making, no subject has so inspired me as this story that happened in August 2016. The world saw a 3-year-old boy on global networks, and it really touched my heart. So much so that I had to tell his story. His name is Omran Daknish. His story is real. It happened. I'm telling this story because millions of other children just like Omran are still being hurt in war-torn countries resulting from neglect, illness, and uncaring masses. We must remember them all. You won't be leaving the movie theater without a tear in your eyes. I hope you'll come.
ممران دقنيش
قديش عمرها؟
4 سنين.
Rated PG-13.